Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It's Saturday, February 17th. Hopefully, everybody out there is doing good today. Had a good week. Today, I thought we'd talk about what do you do when the volume of work doesn't come through the door as it did the previous year? Because you still got all the bills, right? Your workman's comp, payroll, insurances, light bill, fuel bill, heating costs, and you're trying to crunch those numbers down. Stay tuned. All right, so welcome back. So what's the topic of today's show? Well, today's show is, it really pissed me off yesterday afternoon, last night. I was watching the Fox Business Report, Fox News and stuff. And it's going on across even what I call the liberal media. And that is, the economy is doing great. 401ks have been doing good until, I guess, this morning, because I see everything is in the red. But do we really base the economy on somebody's 401k? I know back when I was working and I had a 401k, I had guys that would watch it on a daily basis and tell me how much they lost today and then how much they gained tomorrow. And I never did that. The money went in the 401k. It was a long-term investment, something for my retirement, and not anything to be watching on a regular basis. But I never based the economy on my 401k. And that's where business people that are higher up than you and I try to say that that's how the economy works. Is if the stock market is good, that means the economy's good. Not necessarily. What I've been seeing, over the past year is your tech companies, your big companies like Walmart and them, they're doing well. And it's all about what they're buying something for and what they're selling it for. And they're selling tangible goods of stuff that you're going to use, right? Something you're going to be a return customer to come back and buy more. That's their whole motto, is to keep adding customers, and then the existing customers to keep coming back, to keep building more stores, right? Here's how to base the economy. Is talk to small business owners like myself and say, how is your business doing this year compared to last year, or the year before, or the last 5 years? And I would have to say, it sucks. And they're going to say, well, why does it suck in such a good economy? Who's saying it's a good economy? Who really is saying that? It's your government, because they want to look good. It's your top big corporations, because they want to look good. But here's the nitty gritty. I deal with the average person, okay? They're not making $100,000 a year. Most of them are making 40 to 50 still, and some as high as 60. But for the most part, let's call it an average medium of 50 grand. And that 50 grand, what is it worth today compared to what it was worth 2 years ago or a year ago? That's where you base the economy. And we don't have the luxury, when it comes to our business, of just deciding to up the prices to make up the difference, right? Let me give you an example. See, I do the grocery shopping for the house, so I know what groceries cost. I mean, eggs have finally come down to a more manageable number compared to what they were during COVID, right? But a lot of your prices spiked. A lot of your corporations looked at the bottom line and said, okay, this is what we need to do. We need to increase the price on our products that we're selling to keep us in the blue, right? Or the black, whatever you want to call it, but not the red. Example, I drink Maxwell House coffee, and I get it in the round tins. But 2 years ago, I was paying $5.99 for that can of coffee. In my local Price Chopper, which is a chain store, it's selling for $11.99 now. That's an increase of $6. That's twice as much as what it was just 2 years ago, just a year ago. Everything, folks, has gone up on the average person. So that average person that is making $50,000 to $60,000, the value of their money is now down to $25,000 to $30,000 because of the cost of everything around has doubled. Gas prices have started to come down, but it's an election year coming up. They want you to make you feel nice and, warm and fuzzy. But the reality is, we're not warm and fuzzy. So how do we, as small business owners, get through this kind of an economy? Well, you could say, well, why don't you just raise your prices? Well, if people can't afford you at your cost right now, how can they afford you at an increased cost? Because the major reason they're not coming to our shop is because they can't afford it. They are trying to do it themselves. And we're now getting calls of bailing people out of problems versus keeping the unit in top shape every year. And that is getting it in for a service, and any maintenance needs to be done on it on a yearly basis. An example was yesterday. We had one of our regular customers that was one of our regular customers for the last year and a half. We haven't heard a peep out of him. And we normally do his lawnmower, snowblower, garden tiller, all this stuff. Nothing. We haven't heard a peep out of him until yesterday. And Claude and I were talking about this just this past week, about what can we do to increase revenue, because we have all these fixed costs already in place. The only good thing is I'm not in debt over my head. Just about everything I got is paid for. But I'm going to come at it from a guy that's just like you. If you have a small business, whether it's small engine, whether it's auto, if it's in the service sector, then you need to be listening. But we got a call from him yesterday morning, and he's like, "Hi, this is so-and-so." I said, "Yes, how are you doing, Richard?" And he said, "Well, I got a problem." I said, "Okay." He had busted a shear bolt on his snowblower, and he didn't have the tools to get the bolt out. It was wedged in there. Now, had he brought it to us, he might have got charged for a half hour. So $28, $30 is what he would have been charged. But he lives up the road, probably 3.5 miles. So I sent Claude up there with the right tools, and he was back within 10 minutes. But we had to bill him $40 Because normally our service charge is 50. If we come to you, it's an automatic 50. But I told Claude, I said, just cut it off at 40 if it's something simple. Because Claude would rather see us take the trailer up, load it, bring it back, do the work, and then take it back. Well, then you have trucking involved, and then time for Claude to hook on the trailer, go up, get it, bring it back, work on it. Now we're talking 2 to 3 hours. And Richard knew that. That's why Richard wanted one of us to come to him. He was one of our regular customers that right now, he's retired and he's trying to make do with the same income that he's had for the last couple of years. But everything has gone up. And one of the things that I thought is maybe, is it something on our end of what we're doing? Like, is the quality of the customer service? Is it, because I'm customer service, I'm billing, I'm secretarial, I'm estimator, I wear a lot of hats, okay? So that's why I've always said, if something is going wrong within a business, it's my fault because I'm the owner. I'm the boss. I'm the owner. I accept that responsibility. There may be somebody in my employment that is not pulling their weight, but in the end, it's still on me because I've still kept that person even after repeatedly telling them you need to step up and do it a little bit faster, right? But that's not the case this past year. I haven't had that. So what I've been doing for the past 12 months is basically chasing my tail. And when I say chasing my tail, I'm actually having to take money from my personal side to put it into the business just to cover the basic recurring bills every month. There is not enough work coming through that front door to cover payroll, insurances, lights, heat, taxes. So what do? Well, you got one of two things. You either decide that you're going to make this work no matter what, or give up. It's that simple. If you don't have the willingness to go deep, when I took this company from 0 to 900,000 a year, it was because I was doing what needed to be done 14, 16-hour days, 7 days a week, nonstop. And that's one thing that I haven't done in the past 4 or 5 years. I've been kind of getting close to retirement year. Claude 72, we're kind of just coasting along. And I'm not putting in the required time doing what needs to be done. Even though I know what needs to be done, we need to get out there and shake some trees and get more work. So we're still getting that. I didn't even know you guys were here from new customers. We need to look at different angles that we can take on. Do we increase eBay sales? Where do we need to make the changes? And how long is this economy going to last? And I talked with the other shop owners that are worse off than me, okay? Their overhead is big. More employees. They have floor planning. They have, loans on their buildings or rent on their buildings and this and that. And a lot of them have got customer machines sitting there that the customer hasn't come and got because the customer hasn't got the money to pay the bill. A friend of mine that does auto mechanic, he's got a stack that thick this past year of customers that he's trying to get them to pay on time, do pay something, and they simply don't have the money. So the next time you hear on TV about how great the economy is, somebody needs to talk to us little people that are down on the totem pole. So I got to approach this just like I did with the shop challenge, with getting things cleaned up, is we need to double down and decide what it is we're going to do. And I'd like to have you guys along for the ride, because I'll tell you, I will change this and I will turn this around and we will come out in the blue in the end. Whether it be selling more beef, cutting back on certain services that don't pay, doing estimates that we don't follow up with, all those things. So what are some of the avenues that I need to approach and need to come through at to succeed, right? That's what we want, is long term, but we also want to keep our doors open. And if you're going through this right now, you're not alone, guys. We're in it together. And when I say we're in it together, let's get through it. So the first thing is the only employees that my business has now is just Claude and I. Claude is now half day instead of a full day. He's only here for half a day, usually from 8 till noon. And because the work's not here. I used to be on payroll. I am no longer on payroll because payroll can't support me. It's hard supporting just him. Because even with a reduced payroll, you still have workman's comp, and I have New York State payroll taxes. I have federal payroll taxes. I have insurances on the buildings. So that's one of the first things, is reduce the amount going out per month. And so we've done that. The second thing is we have customers still owing us money, and we need to call those debts in. I've got one that's over $3,000 that all of his tractors are still sitting here as collateral, but I don't really want his tractors. I want the money to put back into the business, right? So that's 2. Collecting on people that owe us money, getting after them. 3, thinking outside the box. How to attract new customers so that we have at least more of, they got themselves into a fix, so you got work there versus no work at all. And the other is going after and doing a better job of doing estimates with people. Just yesterday, I had a guy with a compact New Holland Ford tractor, and he said that he heard a slight knock noise, and he's not sure if it's a fuel knock or what. But if we had to, what would be the cost of what they call an in-frame rebuild? In-frame means you don't split it. You just do the top and bottom, okay? And as I explained to him, see, this is the hard part about when you're doing estimates in our line of work, is you don't know what the issue is, okay? I know what he's looking for. He's looking at worst case scenario. How much is this going to run me? Well, it depends on if it needs an in-frame rebuild. It could be an injector issue of sounding like a knock. And if it is a knot on the rod bearings or the main bearings, good chances are he took the crank out. And if you took the crank out, it's no longer an in-frame build. It's you have to drop the crank out, replace the crank, all the bearings, and then you want to make sure all the sleeves are nice and clean and no scratches. And so that part is still on the hard part. I mean, I told him, I said he wanted to know what was the minimum down that he would have to do to get it looked at. So I told him, I said, $300 down and you cover the parts. It's $55 an hour, and that's the minimum you're going to be looking at. The end result is going to be $55 an hour for as many hours as it takes plus parts. And I won't know that until I get the machine in front of me so that I can diagnose it correctly instead of somebody else telling me what they thought. And this is how he bought this, by the way. So he knows that there's something more serious going on with it. So that's it. Another thing I have to put more time in is getting estimates, following up on estimates. He's supposed to get me a shout back here in another couple weeks. But in the meantime, we need work coming in. We've got a tractor in there that should have been out. Seriously, should have been out and paid a paid job last Tuesday that has been driving Claude crazy. It came in not running, had an exhaust leak, and do a 12 volt conversion on it. All that seems simple, right? It normally is. Then we had issues with the lights. And with ballast resistor in place, we couldn't get the lights to work. The lights worked when they came in with a 6 volt system. Now we couldn't get them to work on a 12 volt. And we end up having to change all the bulbs from 6 to 12 on that tractor, which normally a ballast resistor would have taken care of it. But whatever way the wiring was, it wasn't allowing it. And then we have the issue of it not running correctly. We can get it to idle all day long, but the minute you rev it up, it smells like it's overfueling and the plugs are coming out charcoal looking, kind of black looking. And we've been chasing our tail on that, or Claude has, thinking it might be the new coil. So we swapped coils. We went direct to the coil versus through the switch. We've rechecked the timing. We rechecked the gap on the points. Checked the condenser. Made sure that, the plug wires were in the correct spot. And he's had this carburetor apart 4 or 5 times. And it's still doing the same thing. So, and no matter what you do on that carburetor for the 2 adjustments that you do have to fine tune it, it doesn't make any change. So I've got a Jubilee sitting on the hill that I bought that I was going to put the money in to fix up. That come Monday morning, we're going to pull the carburetor off that, put that onto her machine, and see if that will take care of the problem. Maybe the carburetor on it is just worn out. Who knows? But we'll find out Monday. So that's one of the things that, because we gave her a estimated cost, and if I bill out Claude for as many hours as he's done for doing redundancy and not getting it done, I don't feel right about that, even though I'm paying Claude so much an hour to be there. We've got the Frankenstein belt that Claude is working on. He got the PTO clutch off, the other pulley off. We've got the Briggs set in place, but the shaft is a little bit longer, and it's not dead center of the hole, but it still lines up with where the pulleys need to be. So he's building that in the other bay. But this weekend we're going to concentrate on beef, but we're also going to be brainstorming. And especially if I can get my daughter involved, she is smarter than a whip on ideas outside the box, because she's been the president of our company for ever since 2006. You know, she's been the upper echelon. I'm the CEO, but she's the president. And may I say, this is a non-paying job for her. Is just the name will do it. So I hope you enjoyed the journey. It's kind of one of those deals of, I've done this before. I've had to put in the extra hours to make it work, and that we will. So on that note, if you guys are having similar issues, let me hear what you're doing about it. How would you approach it? You guys that have businesses. Am I missing something? Because we don't have the customers coming through the door like we should, or that we usually have. And this winter has been odd anyways, because we finally got a little bit of snow, but we've hardly had any snow this year, so we're not seeing snowblowers and issues with snowblowers. Actually, some guy called the other day, was looking for a blade bolt for his Cub Cadet zero turn. I'm like, dude, you're not mowing the yard yet, are you? So I'm just getting ready. So on that note, you guys have a great Saturday. I'm going to try to do like a vlog with what's going on with the business, what I'm doing, what I'm trying, what I'm succeeding at, what I'm failing at. And hopefully we can all learn together, right? All right, guys. Have a great Saturday.